So this is Urotherapy training course number 29, class number 2, and we're into the second class. So you brought your beverage?
Fresh squeeze.
This never gets old, you know. Drinking your pee on camera. I mean, there was a time where I thought that was something odd, but it's so normal now.
Well, we just have to normalize it for everybody.
And at some point that will feel that way to you. So we got welcome back. So we're going to do a different form of prayer this morning or afternoon. Are you familiar? Oh, you're going to have to multitask here as a mom.
Always.
That's okay. There's plenty of room and plenty of space for our soul sister right there, our little soul sister. Now in Hawaii, children are called keiki.
What does that mean?
It means child.
Oh, okay.
And us elders who are over a certain age are called kapunas, which means elders.
Oh.
And she's a wahine, which is a girl.
Or niña in Spanish, right?
Niña in Espanol. So have you ever seen this book?
I have not.
Is it backwards or forwards?
It's forward.
All right. So we're going to read a mantra. Hi, Sean.
Hello, hola.
Aloha, bro.
Oh, that's
Aloha.
right. Aloha for you.
You nailed it. You nailed it. So we're going to read a mantra. These were the mantras or the affirmations or decrees that came through the messenger known as Elizabeth Clare Prophet in the early 1960s.
Okay.
And she was one of the 2 messengers for Saint Germain and the Violet Flames. So we're going to read a prayer from Master Katumi. I don't know if you've heard of him, but it doesn't matter. So the name of this decree is called I Am Light. And as I read this decree, listen to the similarities in this decree between what it says and what this is. It always seems appropriate every time I read it. So here we go. I'm just going to read it. It's not call or response.
Okay.
Just so you'll know. You won't be going, wait, I was supposed to say something. No. Here we go. I am light, glowing light, radiating light, intensified light. God consumes my darkness, transmuting it into light. This day I am a focus of the central sun. Flowing through me is a crystal river. Get it? A living fountain of water, a living fountain of light that can never be qualified by human thought and feeling. I am an outpost of the divine. Such darkness as used me is swallowed up by the mighty river of light, which I am. I am light. I live in light. I am light's fullest dimension. I am light's purest intention. I am light, 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 flooding the world everywhere I move, blessing, strengthening, and conveying the purpose of the kingdom of heaven. Cheers.
Beautiful. Cheers.
Here's golden water to you. And what's the age of your lovely water?
About 5 minutes.
Oh, I got 20 minutes on you. Hilarious, hilarious. All right, so can you describe in your own words what is orin, or what some people call urine? What is it really?
It is life. Golden plasma water.
Yeah.
Full of, it's our own perfect medicine, to quote Martha Christie. So many things. I feel like it's hard to distill it down into just like one descriptive couple words.
You did good. And by saying that, you've also acknowledged one of the wisdoms on the wisdom chart, and that is that this water is in a category all unto itself. So we do our best to describe it. Can you name anything else on that wisdom chart?
I was just gonna pull it up.
Oh, her Cliff, cheat notes.
Yeah, it's been a couple days since I looked at it. I can find it.
All right, we'll kick you off. It's an intuitive.
Yes. It alchemizes everything that it touches.
What's another word for alchemizes?
Transmuting?
Transmuting. Does it also have a property of sterilizing?
Yes. Yes. Sterilizes everything. I was actually just reading some of the protocols last night, and the air freshener one was a new one to me. I was like, oh yes, that makes sense.
So does it have any, is there any need for any considerations when we use it?
Nothing that I've really come across as far as, well, as far as not really doing it if you're on heavy medications, drinking alcohol, heavy use of recreational drugs is probably a considerations you should.
Well, if those things have to be taken, you can design a window around the time you take those things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that cushions your body from having to go into full out, sterilize, alchemize, and transform those things and turn it into a combination of everything that's mixed in with the water, and gives it a chance to get in and do what it's supposed to do. And that satisfies the client's mind, as well as they feel okay with their doctor because they did the right thing. And ultimately, that's going to change. Did you experiment with any new protocols over the week?
No, not really. Besides just daily bathing in it now. So that's been my new thing, is just bathing in it daily, meditating, or listening to some, motivational videos of some type.
Okay. Ultimately, the practices will kind of guide you.
I was testing out the because I was reading about the nose drinking. I didn't actually do it, but I was testing out the positions of it and showing my husband, like, see, I'm gonna try this.
Did you actually take a bottle or a glass and bring it up to your nose?
Not yet. No, not yet.
Okay.
I'm gonna try it though.
Okay, please do. Report your results. And oh, by the way, get used to it spilling on your face.
That's okay. I put it on my face every day anyway. So
I know, but it's so much fun when you're trying to manipulate your nose and get everything of this right, and things are dripping, and you're going, oh no, that's okay. That's okay. I meant to do that.
I did look at a pair of goggles at the store though. I probably should have picked up, but I did not. So I'll get those next time.
Okay. Anything that we went through the first class that you need clarification or more detailed teaching that you can think of?
Nothing that comes to mind. The only thing was, and I had read in a Telegram group, and I was like, I don't think that's right. Somebody was saying that stem cells aren't present in the fresh urine, and I was like, pretty sure they are. So yeah, just clarifying that. And obviously they just multiply exponentially as it evolves. So
Exactly. Now you have to be really discerning when you read posts from people in the UT social media platforms. Some of the people didn't do their research. They're just throwing out their theories. Like one person says, oh, there's no stem cells in the evolving orin after 4 months. They come up with all these theories, and sometimes in the social media groups, there are trolls and troublemakers that are throwing out misinformation. So you have to read closely.
Yes, absolutely.
Even the UT social media groups are not perfect. As we found out from the Shivambu Hut, every other day I've got to get rid of the guys with the escort service, or they're selling some cryptocurrency or whatever it is. I'm going, delete, block, get out.
Yeah.
So I didn't know it. I'd have to be the Shivambu Hut police, but that's part of my job. Crazy, crazy, crazy. All right. Tell me if we covered the following chapters. Research and clinical studies.
Mm, I believe we did. We got to,
Did we get to chapter 6?
oh, I think maybe that's where we left off.
Chapter 5 or chapter 6?
I think we stopped at chapter 5.
Did I mention why the water, the air, the fire, and the earth are sacred elements?
We did go over because they all provide life in some aspect or another. I do remember reading that. Yep, we did.
Okay.
Nobody can live without water. For that, water is a sacred element. Yes.
Okay. That reminds me of a Native American chant. You might know it. The earth is my body, water my blood, air my breath, and fire my spirit.
I didn't realize that was a chant. I have that on my playlist.
Really? Play it more.
Yeah. All the
What-
time. That one comes up all the time.
What really drives it deep for me is to say that outdoors. While you're interacting with the ocean and the sand and a tree and a rock or a fire.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm kind of sensitive about these things. All right, did we get into the body-mind connection? I know I've touched on it many times.
Possibly. I honestly don't recall.
The body-mind.
Snorting some more urine to clean my brain out. So
There you go. What sometimes you can do during the middle of the class and middle of the day is just do a little fingertips worth and just get the, the essence up there. It doesn't look professional, but who cares? So if you ever want to do that, it's totally okay. We can, when the people play this back, they go, oh, I do that all the time. All right. So in order for urine therapy, Shivambu, to work for people, instead of incremental changes or hit or miss where people are going to actually get better and get their body and their mind back, it's going to require bringing to balance the 4 pillars of health. Now, this dates back to the holistic model from the 1970s, 1980s, and then they called it wellness practitioners. But it's the combination of the mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. Without bringing those in balance, you're going to be out of balance, and it's going to be hit or miss whether you're going to get the results you're looking for. So it's a good idea to be a little self-aware and to look at how well you're handling your emotions, how you're treating your body, being in your body, exercising it, stretching it, loving on it. What are you doing for your peace of mind, your nurturing of your soul? And are you keeping a positive attitude regardless of what arises in you?
Absolutely.
Good. All right. So that's what that chapter is about. And the reason it's important to know that is why?
So we can then teach it to clients, because if people still have, the mental hangups on things or the emotional dysregulations, like that's gonna go out into all the other things. Like you can't just, oh, well, I just drink my pee every day and haven't changed anything else. That's, you need to kind of all encompassing, bringing the 4 pillars of health in alignment and harmony, homeostasis. I think I wrote down when I was notating at some point.
That addresses the question when people say, will it heal this disease and that disease? And they list them all, right? And the answer I give is yes and no. And that gets him wondering, why would he say that if he's such a strong proponent of urine therapy?
Oh, no, I do recall that you did say this last time. Yep.
Because healing is more complex than we're actually looking at. People say, well, take this pill and take this supplement and do this lotion and potion and all that, and they don't change anything. So it's going to be a little more harder to find that balance unless you're really proactive with everything in your life and you're examining what it is that you've been hiding from, or putting it under the rug, or leaving it behind the crap in the refrigerator. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
This is the time in our life that we have to be totally honest with ourselves.
Dig those shadows out.
Yeah. Well, if no one's going to call you out on your crap, you have to.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Take a closer look. All right. So we're going to move into the protocols.
Right.
I love the protocols because they give you a wider menu of how to not only to treat your body and deliver nutrients into your blood, but what if there's particular areas of the body that needs more attention? The liver, the lungs, the lymphatics, the heart, reproductive organs, back, whatever it is. To know this and know these protocols, particularly when we get to the general treatment suggestions, you will have an idea, and using your intuition, what you need to do at that particular time. Okay? When we get to skin conditions, I'm going to name off all these different conditions that people have that affect their skin. Not just for us folks that hang out in the sun too long, but anything else, anything else that might affect you. All right, so we're in chapter 7. And chapter 7 is entitled Protocols, introducing saturation dosing, SIP looping, and new protocols that came about from 2019 to 2020. Now, since 2020, 4 years later, new protocols came out, new equipment and applications showed up. So this is the most recent of them. Now, the warning, I pretty much explained. The warning is about how to take a window between doing chemicals, chemical prescribed drugs, allopathic medicine, or recreational drugs. Give your body some breathing room. Urotherapy protocols. It's page 45 in the old book. I don't know what it is and what you're looking at.
I don't know. I don't have page numbers. It's all just printed.
Okay, so it's the second page of chapter 7, where it says Urotherapy protocols. Would you, at any time, if you want to read, let me know.
Okay.
Or if not, I'll keep reading. Oh, you just you pinned that up on the wall. Noted. Now, here we go, Keegan. Shivambu is a free all-purpose self-care medicine. Make it your default answer to any and all health concerns or conditions. Remind yourself that you carry Shivambu in a secret container called a bladder, in a body that speaks a language that just the two of you understand. Returning the healing water from your source back to your source will ensure a long, healthy, and joyous life indeed. Another way of saying that is the essence of who you are, which has been imprinted in the intelligence of your body, is the essence of you. So it comes out in this golden water, and you take it back in orally and topically, the essence of you. And when that returns in your body, and your body builds the new cells and it starts to regenerate, that produces the best of you. So you can become the best of you by putting the best of you back into you. That wasn't too deep, was it?
No, I love it.
Okay, so your body takes its essence and produces the best for you. Build a lifestyle that'll keep you young and healthy for your entire life by practicing these protocols every day. Shivambu is a lifestyle, a labor of love. Ask any healthy, vibrant, and devoted Shivambu enthusiast why they're happy and well. They will explain with great passion, I'm blessed because I drink my water. A glass of pee a day keeps the doctor away. L'chaim for all our Jewish friends. Oral application of Orin. Now we're going to start off with a baby step. Have I taught you that yet?
Yeah, I kind of knew about that before. So.
Okay, this is where you dip the pinky in the water.
Or using like a dropper under the tongue.
Well, that's step 2.
Oh, okay.
All right, let's go through this real quickly. We're talking about newbies. We're talking about guys who are not sure if you got your head on straight, and you're introducing them. They said, well, okay, is there a baby step? Is there a way that I can start finding a new place to put in my brain? You know, because they're building a new perception based on the misperception. So have them collect some of their water and put your pinky in it. Say to this person, Keegan, notice you didn't get sick or die. And if they don't laugh at that, I don't know what to do with them. So the next step is to repeat that. Dip your finger in it. You're talking to this newbie. Dip your finger in your golden water and then lick it off your finger. Notice you didn't get sick or die. I know that sounds pretty harsh, but it's true. Right? We want to crack their brain open. So you might have to say whatever you have to say. And then you take them from that and you get your dropper. Right? Have them take a whole dropper full and stick it under their tongue and hold it as long as they can before they swallow it. All right. And then the next step is when you're about to cut them loose, they figured out they can drink an ounce. Right? 1 ounce, 2 ounces, 3 ounces, that by then they figured it out. They're on their own.
Mm-hmm.
So that's baby stepping.
There was speaking of the baby stepping, there was a part in your, I can't remember which chapter it's in, but where you said that because all babies are, you know, born into the womb, and if it was poisonous, then all babies would be born dead. And I was like, that's kind of like a, well, yeah, duh.
Yeah, well, it's not duh for us who've been practicing this and have an understanding of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying to all these people that are not quite sure how to make sense of what we're doing, because if it was true, then the baby would either be born sick or dead.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
This morning, if you go to my Rumble channel, I think I posted on Rumble, this guy made a beautiful video about how when the baby is taken away from the mother, either because it's been a miscarriage, abortion, or however it is, the baby, whether it's alive or dead, is taken away from the mother, it leaves behind its cells in the mother. So when the mother gets sick or has a health challenge, those baby cells are still in there helping mom to heal.
Mm.
So what it said in the video, if you get a chance to say it, what he's indicating is that the baby lives in the mother her whole life and is there to support her health, even if it was taken away from the mother. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
I didn't know that till this morning. So I thought that was appropriate.
Have you ever heard the I don't know quite how to explain it. So when we birth girls, like we also then, because you're born, women are born with all the eggs that they'll ever produce in their life. So they also hold their grandchildren. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. I found that out a long time ago, and I was like, that's just fascinating. Like to me, it's just crazy. You really
Yeah.
sit and think.
Yeah. And if this is what we know now,
Mhm.
guess what we're going to know soon? I mean, we got even more to learn.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then it won't be a great mystery after all. The defining moment happens when someone realizes that this is the real thing. They saw the light. They're motivated by the possibility of achieving their health goals and a wonderful life. Simply increase the quantity of every orange drink as you make your way to 6 ounces up to a quart size of refreshing water. I added that part. Up to a liter or more. On an average day, I'll drink a half a gallon. And that's not looping. It helps that I keep some stashed in my car, in my bedroom, wherever I go. But I notice when I'm taking enemas, I oftentimes use up my supply because I'll go through 3 or 4 quarts of it.
Hmm.
I go, I'll make more. It's nothing you can ever run out at. It's not like you have to stack up because you're going to make more in a few hours.
Mhm.
That should bring you some relief, let you know there's abundance that flows through you.
Absolutely.
All right, drinking protocols. Taking Orin orally does not worsen or increase any health conditions. There's a slim chance it might be very mild and unrecognizable. When we drink fresh Orin in any considerable quantity, especially in the initial months of starting UT, it may create diarrhea-like symptoms, which soon heals. And sometimes it's migraines. Sometimes it's aches. So the urine is doing the healing at deeper places in the body, and sometimes it's parasites.
Mhm.
Their nest and their eggs are being disrupted by all this nutrition. And so they sometimes leave a little gift for us inside our bodies. And then we have to process what they excrete in our bodies.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I'm not going to go talking about parasites.
I've done my fair share of research on
Yeah, me too. And there's always more.
that.
Simply stop for a day, switch to a topical protocol, and for this day off. Then start drinking Orin in smaller doses, like 3 to 5 ounces. Increase the proportions when you feel that's okay to do so. Oral application of Orin is generally accepted practice. For anyone serious about reclaiming and regenerating their health quicker, saturation dosing, which we went over, and it's in this chapter, will make all the difference between feeling okay sooner than later and feeling like your healthy self again. Newbies, the guys that just starting this out, appreciate baby steps when starting Orin therapy because of the mental adjustments they're making in order to accept the possibility that doing this just might be good for them. And the sooner they figure that out, the better.
Mhm.
In addition to drinking Orin, everyone who builds a habit of practicing their favorite protocols every day can experience and discover how, in combination, they can receive maximum benefits and quicker recovery. I don't know if you're on any of the Telegram groups, but there's about 7 or 8 UT Telegram groups, and one is getting a lot of testimonials.
Oh, awesome.
So there's a UT testimonial group. There's my group, which is Urine Therapy Does a Body Good. There's about 7 or 8 of them there. There's Dr.
I'm
Shiban.
on 3 right now.
What'd you say?
I think I'm on like 3 of them right now.
Okay. Well, there's plenty of content that you can learn from, and there's plenty of opportunities for you to share content. With a lifetime of confusing misinformation and ridiculous food rules with its dogma, no wonder so many people are obsessed, neurotic, addicted, and anxious about what and how to eat for their body. This is in every country, city, village, anywhere that's been modernized. With modern food practices, people are neurotic around food.
Mhm.
I have been until I went all raw foods and did fasting and took breaks from food. I realized eating is not the solution to everything.
Yeah. Yeah. As somebody who was very emotional eater, I've been there, done that.
So you can have great compassion and sensitivity to others that are struggling with it.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Take a break from eating, also known as fasting, based on family, society, religious, medical, media programming about food. These are some of the things that mess us up. Eating by the clock, not learning how to know true hunger from emotional, psychological hunger. I added in my own notes in my copy of the book, if you want to hear them, whether you want to write them down or not. The other things that people have not learned how to do is how to chew.
Oh, yes.
It was taught back in the 70s that you need to chew 30, 40 times before you swallow.
I actually called my 15-year-old son out on that the other day because like can't remember, like he was eating rice or whatever we were having, and he was just like inhaling it. And I was like, dude, like slow down, dude. He's like, I'm so hungry. I was like, if you slow down, that gives your brain time to talk to your stomach. So, you get fuller and you just like, and I was like, chew your food like 30 times. He's like, well, then it's mush. I'm like, yeah, that's the point.
Exactly. Pre-digested.
Yeah, I was like, take a bite, put your spoon down, chew it, maybe have a sip of water, and then take another bite. Yeah, that's very apparent.
Yeah. Well, if you watch children, maybe your daughter eats this way, is when you introduce something new to them to eat, they'll hold it in their mouth for a long, long time before they decide if it's worth chewing or spitting out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I remember doing it as a kid. You put something in your mouth and about 3 or 4 seconds into it, you spit it out. It doesn't match your standard of taste. So why would I want to swallow it?
Yep, yep.
So that's another important thing. So not chewing well, overeating. A buddy of mine who was a wheatgrass juice grower out in Boulder, Colorado, he was also a master chemist, and he put together a raw food store where he made desserts. And he says the secret of making any recipe is to never have more than 4 items in the recipe.
Hmm.
And so he always had the most delicious treats and desserts, and it never had more than 4 things in it. And the last thing is people eat too late.
Yep.
Now, that's an arbitrary term. What is too late? But for me, it's like I want to stop at sundown.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I've been working all these years. So once the sun goes down, anything after that is going to be liquids or fruit. Unless you're active and you're exercising and doing hikes, swimming, blah, 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 it's just going to sit there inside you.
Yep, yep.
All right. Freeing the mind from worry about nutritional needs, medicine, healing, and creating the energy and strength for health and aliveness liberates you from obsessiveness around food, medicine, and all forms of nourishment. This is where you come in and sensitively teach them a new food path, along with UT practices and purification techniques to empower them to enjoy life again. So this is some of the things you'll be teaching people.
Now, when you refer to purification techniques, are you talking like spiritual purification techniques, mental purification techniques, physical detoxing, all of the above?
Well, they're all connected.
Yeah.
I mean, the term that I've used for years is spiritual purification. So whether you're fasting, doing enemas, sitting by a fire for hours, breathing in a body of water, chanting, moments of silence, hugging a tree,
Oh,
those are all spiritual purification practices because you're clearing out your mind of patterns and stuck energy. And the universe doesn't like us to be stuck. So it's a good idea to move what you got.
absolutely.
Ready to experience your best health ever by drinking pee and practicing disciplines to treat your body, mind, and spirit. Now grab your free water and let's get you started. Before going into the details with the client and teaching them protocols, here's some basics to learn before consultations and guiding sessions or suggesting applications. Beginners drink 1 to 4 ounces of fresh orange in the morning, are split up throughout the day. Now that's arbitrary because some people, they get it right away and they're not shy about drinking 8 ounces, 12 ounces, 16 ounces or more. So it's wherever people intuitively feel the most comfortable. And when you've experimented with larger and larger quantities throughout the day, you wonder why you didn't do it before. Drinking distilled structured water has the ability to hydrate you really well. Work up to drinking 6 ounces orange 3 times a day. I mean, I did this more as a beginner or intermediate version. We got helicopters flying overhead. Sometimes I go to the beaches and there's unmarked helicopters.
Oh boy.
You know, the kind of stuff you see in spy movies and secret movies and stuff. There's all kinds of stuff here. I'm going, I don't need to know what that is. That's okay. They're probably watching me. Okay. Spreading the time between food and medication and consuming orin prevents indigestion or negative reaction when orin catches up with undigested food. It's the same thing, like, for example, if you're eating fruit and particularly watermelon and melons, it'll catch up with anything in the stomach super fast. If you add something into your mouth after you've had watermelon and melon, any kind, if you don't give it an hour window longer and it hasn't processed through, you'll get a belching reaction. So those enzymes, they want to keep the area clean. So
yeah.
Did I tell you about the food combining chart?
I don't believe so.
Okay, two things. I would suggest you Google it when you get a chance. And this will give you a better understanding of food and what foods go with what foods based on their chemistry and their enzymes.
Oh.
The two things to look up. Number one, food combining chart.
Okay.
Number two, chemistry and composition of foods. You'll find out that protein and starch don't go together. Protein and fruit does not go together. Starch and fruit does not go together. You forget about your nuts and seeds and your apples and your berries that don't go together. Though people in the vegan and the raw food community, and I fell into this trap when I first started, everybody's thinking it's raw foods. Raw foods is raw foods. What difference does it make? Oh, it makes a lot of difference if you don't know how they work together.
Yeah, that's why mono meals are really good. Just one thing at a time.
Thing at a time, you'll be much better off.
Yeah, yeah.
Practice drinking plenty of orin during intermittent fasting periods, and then increase the length of time when you're fasting only on orin and distilled water, which is optional, for 24 hours at a time. And then see if you can push the envelope from 1 day fast to 3 day fast, and on it goes.
I'm actually going to embark on a 40-day fast starting September 2nd. So I've said it now, it's official, I can't turn back.
You put this out publicly, you have to go through the.
I know. I was actually planning on like documenting it and then releasing it at a later point. So stay tuned.
Definitely, because this is history in the making.
Yes. Yeah.
What will you be fasting on?
Just water and orin.
Okay. You're gonna sail through it.
Yeah, I did a 36-hour dry fast. And it was actually not too bad. So I was like, if I can do that, I can do 40 days on just pee.
And are there any particular health goals that you're wanting to?
No, nothing. There's nothing that's like I don't really have any like health concerns or anything like that. So just detoxing, continuing to detox and whatnot. So
All right. Well, you're gonna have a lot of energy, so
good, because I got lots of stuff to do.
yeah, you probably got a lot of energy now.
Yes.
Evolving, here we go. We're on the next page right before we get to fertility. By the way, that's a picture of Dr. Bunmi Samola. He's a colleague and friend of mine out in Nigeria, and he was the gentleman who was sick when he was 10 and his mom fed him her urine and he recovered.
Oh, awesome.
And 25 years later, he's a urine therapy teacher who's building a clinic in his home, on his property in Nigeria.
Amazing.
Yep. Next page, evolving orin will be explained later in the chapter. Orin for 4 days, or try drinking 3 or more ounces on an empty stomach any time of the day. Using 4 days as a measurement to determine orin as age, that theory came to us from John W. Armstrong from the Water of Life book. Drink 2 to 4 ounces of fresh orange every time you get a craving for substances that you abuse, especially food. Now, here's an interesting way to view this. People will naturally reach out for something that will bring them comfort.
Mm-hmm.
They either need emotional comfort, mental, psychological comfort, soul comfort. So they reach out for that food or herb or psychotropic plant or whatever it is, chocolate or whatever it is they reach for. What if we made taking Orin as much as a treat as any of these other things?
That would solve a lot of issues.
That would, and you wouldn't have to have things that you hide from from your family, so you can go, oh, where did I put that chocolate? I think I have it under the pillow. All right, fertility. And this is going to come up from people. How do I get pregnant? The best way is to start oral use moderately during the days you're trying to conceive and you're attempting to conceive for up to 6 months prior to conception. You can use diagnostic tools, tests to determine when you're ovulating and when you've conceived, and you can gear your use of Orin accordingly. It's raining. How beautiful. The use of urine therapy during pregnancy. And then we're going to go. Yeah.
So can I go back to the fertility? I don't know if you, not that I need help with this. I did, and I cannot remember which book or PDF I read it in, but there were studies of where like the man and the woman would actually swap and drink each other's to like for the hormone production, and that would help with the fertility issues. Have you heard of that also, or worked with anybody?
I have, and more people that I hear of are practicing that, even though they're not working toward pregnancy.
Oh, okay. Okay. So what is the reasoning for practicing it if you're not trying to get pregnant in that aspect?
To have each other's essence, DNA, strength, superpowers.
Okay. Okay. I dig that.
The first edition of the Shivambu Lifestyle newsletter, I already told you about shivalifestyle.com.
Mm-hmm.
Our first newsletter, which still may be posted there, was February edition of 2024, and we featured urine therapy couples that were practicing urine therapy together. There was Eddie and Jessica out in North Carolina, and then there was Chitta and Emily. And so they shared their intimate moments, sharing each other's urine, giving each other massages, both standing in the foot tub together, just all kinds of things that just made it a real special edition.
Oh, that's amazing. I'll have to go read that.
So Sean, pay attention to your woman, wherever you are.
He wanted me to tell you, he's like, make sure you tell Brother Sage. He took his first bath today, was in there for 10 minutes. He's like, I'm going to start with 10 and I will keep increasing it. So he's getting on the train. He's
Way to
like
go.
hair and snorting it in his nose and drinks it every morning. So he's getting there. He's getting there.
By the way, I'm sure this may come up in conversation. I've had students willing to admit to me that they enjoy sharing golden showers.
Hey, it works.
I said, what better partner to pee on than someone who's already into this practice? And so I've heard this woman says, oh, it's simple. It's commonplace for us. I said, that is so wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah. I think that's a whole nother niche market right there.
I'm going to go get me a pee drinking woman.
Here's to that.
I know, I'll drink to that. Children. Oh, this is a great topic. There have been several studies that deal specifically with the treatment of children using Orin therapy. Oral drops or spoonfuls of the child's own fresh Orin is considered the easiest internal form of the therapy for children. However, we've seen this happen over and over again in multiple countries where mom and dad's Orin given to their children worked just as well.
Mhm.
And it wasn't necessarily because they were blood relatives. And it was because they were plasma relatives. And this is what happened in the case of Bunmi out there in Nigeria. For acute flus, colds, viral infections, measles, mumps, chickenpox, small frequent oral doses of 4 to 10 drops every 2 hours or so during the illness have shown to be very effective. Now, that's just an arbitrary measurement. If they'll drink 2 or 3 ounces or more, give them that. But we want to get something inside their body so their body can start building its strength back.
So with orange juice, they seem to take it pretty well. At least that's how mine do it.
Yay, kids. If the child agrees to eat only raw foods, especially fruit, during a healing or cleansing period, the results will be quicker. This eating lifestyle will keep children from experiencing the unpleasant symptoms of headaches, nausea, gas, from acidosis, or poor food combining, constipation, and inflammation. Ultimately, children raised on living foods and AUT have proven to produce disease-free children who grew up healthier than children who ate like everyone else. One of my mentors raised his daughter, he named her Spirit, and the first 6 years of her life was in the wilderness.
Oh.
They didn't go into the city. They had an off-grid house and a lifestyle out in the wilderness, and she wasn't socialized. She didn't go to public schools. She didn't go to churches. And she grew up beautiful soul, turned out just fine. I met her when she was 6 years old, and we were in New Zealand. He's giving a talk. She's on her stomach drawing pictures while all these people in the audience are watching Dad, and she was totally at ease with everything.
That's amazing.
So children
Neat.
don't need to be indoctrinated.
No, yeah, I'm trying to unindoctrinate mine. That was part of the purpose of moving here. So,
How's that going?
well, it's the little ones are a lot easier than the big ones, but I can give them some time yet.
Do you limit their time online?
Yeah, they pretty much don't. Well, I mean, like in the evenings, like my husband will watch Marvel movies with them, but like they don't have like access to internet really that much. And yeah, it was like go outside. We have a yard now. There's a pool. Like there's a beach. Like go ground. My 6-year-old son pretty much just runs around in shorts all the time, and he's incredibly tan now.
Nice. And he's healthy.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yep.
All right. Now, at the bottom of that page, I start talking about homeopathic versions of homeopathic delusion. Now, I don't normally use this approach in my classes and in sessions because homeopathic is a very diluted form of the water or a plant or whatever it is. And according to homeopathic model that came out of England around the 1800s, it means the same as whatever it is you're treating.
Mhm.
And so it's a delusion about 100 times diluted. People get results. I had included in the book, but most people just drink quantities, ounces, quarts, liters, pints. So I put that in there in case you ever wanted to use that as to introduce it to people. Pets and urine therapy. Without me describing how the heck does this work, how would you describe it? Urine
For
therapy
pets?
for pets.
Well, I would assume that you could give them yours. Um,
Are
I
you
don't know.
sure?
No, I'm not 100% sure on that.
Well, you're 100% right.
Oh, well, that's good. Um, yeah, that'd be about unless you're following your dog or cat around and with a bucket all the time. I don't have pets at this moment, so
Yeah, I don't know how anybody would have figured out how to like follow that pet around and
Yeah, I don't know.
And still, I'm trying to help you.
Well, I mean, I have seen cats and dogs that are like toilet trained. So I guess if you like would put a bowl in the toilet and toilet train them, that's one option, but not something I'm gonna try anytime soon.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. But in the meantime, you can do a triage or a 911 situation. They've got the pain in the hip, they're losing hair, they got a thyroid condition, they might have a lump somewhere in their body, eyesight, whatever it is, you can treat them with yours right away,
Mhm, mhm.
which is lovely to be able to do that. And we have more and more pet owners that are also sending their testimonials from the results they got. Did I mention some of the testimonials?
I don't think so for the pets, no.
Okay, friend of mine out in Arkansas. Did I mention her?
No, that doesn't sound familiar.
All right, she would take, now this is a naturopath and iridologist and someone who's well versed in healing modalities. She had probably 20, 30. I went over to visit her and some students there, and she had like 30 gallons stored all over her office, all these containers. So she would take a bath with about 8 to 10 gallons of aged evolving urine.
Mhm.
She'd enjoy herself, read a book, check her email, whatever, and then get up and go to the kitchen to get something. And when she comes back, here's her pit bull jumping in the water, splashing, drinking the water, having a great time. She just filed it away and then noticed 4 days later, the dog's hip pain was gone.
Huh.
So animals naturally know what this is.
Yeah, I guess bathing in it would probably be a pretty easy way to um, get it into their system too.
Yeah. I mean, the untrained mind, you'd walk in and your dog is splashing in your pee water. You go, what the heck is this? He knows. She knows.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome.
So night sipping, we're going into night sipping. What do you think that is?
When you get up, take a pee, drink it, and go back to bed. Just sip it though, because it has the increased melatonin and other things, serotonin and DHA.
All that stuff. Yeah, that's all you do. You wake up in the middle of the night, take a sip, collect the rest, go back to bed. Now you're not drinking a whole lot, so it's not going to act as a diuretic per se and have your sleep interrupted later on in the night. And this also helps deepen REM dream states,
Oh,
which is nice because of all the nutrients in there. I used to take spirulina and chlorella tablets a while back. I do like 20 of them at night and have these multicolored dreams.
oh, that's interesting.
So there are ways to help out our pineal gland and our dream states if you know what you're doing. So we're moving into swishing and gargling and pulling and looping. All right, let's keep going here. We'll take a break in about 30 minutes. Now, most people think of oral use as just drink it and swallow it, but
Mhm.
there's a lot more advanced details you can do while it's in your mouth. One is the gargle method. Right? Hold it, swish it. Swishing and gargling is pretty much the same thing, but you want to this is for gum health, yeah, oral health conditions. Your gums, your teeth, your tongue, bad breath, whatever it is. So hold it as long as you can. Swish it, gargle it. Now, pulling is like coconut oil pulling. And they simply have you hold it in your mouth and then spit it out. But as you recall, this water is sterilizing what's ever been in your mouth.
Yep.
So it's now a sterile environment and there's nothing contaminated in your mouth. Swallow it.
Don't waste it.
No, it's amazing how many people say, well, my mouth is really clean and I spit it out when I was done. I go, what? Who you're talking to? You just can't just throw that at me. I love working with the insanity of the human mind. It's like where they go. All right, so looping, you kind of know what that is.
Mhm.
every time you pee and you collect it. Down it goes. Now, looping isn't necessarily fasting. That's just basically your major beverage of the day.
Mhm.
And there's quite a lot of people in the community, they don't drink water. They don't drink juices. That's it. That's their beverage of choice. So they're going to have to keep a collapsible cup or some water bottle with them wherever they go. You get used to that. I've gone in and out of bathrooms, public bathrooms, so many times. There's the standing area for the guys. So I'm here standing, kind of like looking over my shoulder. You know, a guy walks in, I'm just gonna like let go of my hands and just let it rip. And I feel like a secret agent when I go to bathrooms now. All right, looping is the practice of repeatedly drinking urine for the entire day. Basically, you drink all the pee that you collect. By looping, you gain the benefits from the recycling and refiltering of those dense micronutrients, reproduction of trillions of new stem cells and antibodies. And like I mentioned before, it's like drinking a whole health food store.
I know if people don't get on board just strictly for the stem cells, I'm like, because what is it like $20,000 to $30,000 for stem cell treatments?
Easily.
You get it for free.
Yeah. And you don't have to take time from your life to fly to Mexico
Yeah,
or Costa Rica.
I don't know that too. I don't know if they do them here. I have no idea. I haven't looked it up. Don't need to.
I doubt if you actually will. There's no need for that. When eating while looping, it's less stress on the body to eat foods moderately that consist of living foods and or fruit. Did I give you my definition of what's considered food for humans?
Anything that's living, I believe is what you said. So grows out
Yes.
of the
Okay,
not
well, there's a few more details into that.
okay.
Okay, this is how I determined it when I got on the living foods path. Number one, it has to have enzymes,
Oh yes, you did say this. Enzymes.
minerals, water, chlorophyll, and a strong life force. Shakti. What do you want to call it? Prana. All right. And you won't find that outside the plant kingdom, particularly if the food's been cooked or processed.
Mhm.
And if you stick to living foods, you don't have to worry about inflammation, too much mucus, constipation. If you learn how to eat properly, there won't be gas and bloating. I mean, all that stuff can be easily eliminated by just learning how to eat,
Mhm. Mhm.
which they don't teach you in public schools.
No, gotta teach the food pyramid.
That's right. They don't teach you how to eat. They don't teach you how to think for yourself. Oh, well.
Yeah,
That's
that's
in
a whole discussion.
that's the next paradigm. Hopefully, we'll get there in time. Stay
Yes.
tuned. The advantages of looping over other forms of fasting, including water fasting, is that you get more and denser nutrients than juice or water fasting. Orin is the most nutritionally dense, bioavailable, absorbable, activated, structured, distilled water on the planet. You do not come out of a fasted state, which gives you the advantage of the water-only fast. Because when you're drinking highly concentrated nutrition throughout the day, it curbs a lot of people's appetites as well as anxiety about, oh, I didn't eat today. I might be missing something. You did eat today, but you ate liquid food.
So it doesn't break the actual fasted state, like it doesn't break you out of the autophagy state. Okay. I heard mixed reviews on that initially.
Yeah.
Because they're still consuming nutrients. But yeah, I guess that makes sense.
It's a different form. We're talking about anatomic, nano-sized, molecular-sized, picometer-sized nutrients. Your body doesn't have to stop cleaning and healing. Your body increases human growth hormone by 2,000%, along with other beneficial substances, similar increases that occur during fasting. Every human being has already been drinking and looping pee for most of the 9 months in the womb. Growing in a water world filled with piss and amniotic fluid sounds romantic, doesn't it? As a baby, you naturally pee into the space you're floating in and drink or snort it down over and over again, and that's how that works. If according to the medical system, you've already mentioned this earlier, Keegan, the baby would be born sick or dead if it wasn't sterile and beneficial.
Mhm.
And I don't think we have to go over sip looping because you kind of get the idea. That idea was given to me from Doc Mike Whittort of Chicago. And he is a fighter for the human health and the human spirit. He's just turned 80, and he still travels the world giving treatments and teaching people about urine therapy and body work and reflexology. And he's a hardworking guy.
Wow, that's amazing.
Ex-Marine, so he's got the discipline. Amazing guy. As your body gathers all the energy and information it needs from what you ate, from what's eating you, any compromising in your system or functions, your emotions, and how you're managing your energy, it masterfully blends the perfect elixir of immortality for you to drink and in the most perfect timing.
Hmm.
Now, I will bring up the subject of physical immortality again and again in these classes and even on some of the talks I give on social media, because that has to be included in the conversation, or else there's an unconscious death wish or an unconscious self-destructive patterns that have to be cleared out.
Absolutely.
And we've had our fair share of that growing up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So this is why the alchemists and the immortals consider this a nectar of immortality, of which Shiva actually taught in the Damar Tantra.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would love to, touch base with you every 200-300 years and see how you're doing.
Yeah, yeah. Let's keep in touch.
Whether you're in Costa Rica or not, it's okay. Combining sip looping during fasting or when eating raw foods or fruit creates a better environment for the body to absorb, to assimilate, and eliminate all that it has to. Be sure to save the entire output from the day you'll be using this collected supply for your UT protocols. Begin storing and evolving half of this precious water to use in the coming days, weeks, months, or years. The other half will be used in practices of your favorite topical protocols. There's never a reason to waste this water. There's never a reason to use a toilet anymore, except for going number 2. There's no reason to ever throw it out. What people are catching on to is that if you're done using it for a foot soak or it just doesn't, it doesn't resonate with you, in the garden, in
Mm-hmm.
the yard,
Yep.
agricultural use.
Yep. It's supposed
Maybe
to dilute it when you're giving it to your plants, right?
what?
You dilute it when you're giving it to your plants.
I would say experiment with that to see how it takes the nitrogen and the potassium and the chemicals needed for the soil and for the roots.
I must say, when I had my plants back in Wisconsin and I was, watering them with the diluted pee, they were doing fantastic. Also, I did the electroculture thing with the copper and the wire.
Mhm.
Works great.
Awesome, awesome. Saturation dosing. We kind of went over that, didn't we?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Saturation dosing.
Arbitrary attempt to reach oring capacity at its fullest or limit, which I guess is not impossible, but because you're always healing and you're always regenerating, and unless you're just a monk up in the mountains and not being exposed to any kind of toxins environmentally whatsoever, like you're still being exposed to stuff and still have to clean and regenerate and whatnot. Yes, which is part of the whole immortality thing, because our cells actually don't, how is it? Our cells don't die, or our
Our
cells are immortal.
our cells are immortal. Our cells can contain the creator's DNA or the God code.
Mhm.
And we're hardwired to live forever and to regenerate. However, our work is to navigate through the belief systems and the programming that we inherited without really asking for them.
Mhm.
And so when you can clear that out, then immortality looks more doable and more inviting.
Have you ever heard of the HeLa cells?
How do you spell that?
It's HELA. Back in the, oh gosh, 20s or 40s, I forget the timeline. Henrietta Lacks, Johns Hopkins University, she had like cervical cancer. And they used her cells. The book is called The Immortal Cells of Henrietta Lacks.
Ooh.
They used her cells and have created tons of different kinds of medications off of these cells, which were immortal. But, it wasn't just her cells that are immortal.
What was Henrietta's last name?
Lacks. It's Lacks, I want to say.
Okay, and they're called Hella cells?
HeLa, HeLa.
Oh, that's how you pronounce it.
Yep.
Okay, today is the 16th, 24. Yeah, see, new things to learn today.
Mhm.
That's why I keep paper and pen around wherever I go.
I have notes on everything.
All right, so I did mention that they have now come up with identification of 5,661 ingredients.
Yep.
If you or anybody who watches this back wants a link to confirm the metabiomes and the ingredients that they've located out of this Canadian study, let me know and I will pop that out to you. Orin is an intuitive medicine. The purpose of saturation dosing is to flood the body, mind, and the cells with the maximum concentration of vital nutrients in the shorter amount of time, which will lead to more of a quantum healing.
Mhm.
What we're aiming for is regeneration.
Mhm.
I always love that word.
Yes.
And this is in our nature. If you study two beings or two life forms on this planet, one is the salamander. You know what happens when his tail gets broken off or bit
Mhm.
off, cut off. All right. The other creature that I learned from watching this movie is an octopus.
Mm.
And they showed this man who was a photographer. He kept going into the deep waters and he formed a loving relationship with this octopus. He spent months and months and months videotaping and getting to know it. And at one point, the octopus puts its tentacles around his shoulder and it showed its love and appreciation. Well, they caught on film that the octopus was attacked by a shark and it went and retreated inside a cave. And then it came out a month later with a new tentacle. It
Well, they don't have
regenerated.
the program. Yeah, they don't have the programming of they're not supposed to regenerate. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I think
there was, what was it? It was in one of the, maybe it was something that Tim had shared, where they had taken this child like into the mountains and didn't expose him to like anything, didn't like, say he couldn't do any of the stuff. Well, he ended up losing his hand and
Mhm.
regrowing his hand because he didn't know that he wasn't supposed to do that.
And he couldn't.
Yeah, and he regrew a hand.
Mhm. Well, if you'll practice this, and I do this from time to time, reminded, is talk to your body parts.
Hmm.
Talk to your liver, thank the liver, acknowledge the liver. See it as perfectly whole and functioning. Say it to any body part, and it will respond from that.
So part of One of my immortality goals is with my last baby, I had like 1.5 of my tubes removed. So my goal is to regrow my tubes.
Great goal.
As crazy as that might sound to people.
The crazier means it's more likely to happen. I put out last night, I had to do this video. Everything that becomes popular on our planet and everybody's going nuts and it becomes a movement. The ones that are filled with anxiety, I have to lighten up on the subject. And the subject right now is parasites. Because some people are neurotic as hell. They're buying all the products. They're making all the changes. They still feel nervous about it. They don't know if some creepy crawly thing is going to eat them up from the inside out. And I said, well, can't you just use the power of your mind to tell the parasites they have no power and they have no right to be in your body, and you can eliminate them with your mind?
Mhm.
Why not?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that's how powerful our minds are. We just don't necessarily realize it.
Mhm.
All right. This may be the case for those devotees who've been drinking and applying this for many years, with the addition of other modalities like fasting, fruitarianism, veganism, animus, colonics, qigong, tai chi, meditation, sun gazing, OMAD, exercise, daily conscious, deep connected breathing, clearing limiting beliefs, getting lots of hugs, conversations that matter, and I would include massage, tantra, laughter, and definitely playtime. I bet you Sean's got a great sense of humor.
Oh, yes.
We're talking about you, brother. I know you're in the back. Those just starting AUT using minimal dosage or improving at a snail's pace or playing it safe, often not changing anything about their diet or lifestyle, and they don't experience the kind of changes that you can make if you're more involved with saturating throughout the day.
You get out of it what you put into it. That's what I noticed.
Exactly. Well, you're a philosopher too.
I wear many hats.
Many hats, many dreads.
Yes.
So on this other page, have I pointed this out before?
Yes. You talked about how you can print out the calendar and kind of structure it out the different days, like O for oral, E for enemas, F for putso.
Yeah. So I've dropped that idea on the community, for the last 5 or 6 years, and I actually had a digital designer produce this, and we were getting it out to people, and it just really didn't catch on. So I figured it's either everybody likes to do this on their own, intuitively, or they just don't like structure. Anyway, so that's what that's all about. Any questions about, well, let me ask you, since I love asking you, you're a great guest interview.
Thank you.
Name some ways that you can store the orin.
Well, ideally not in plastic, but that's kind of my only option right now. Glass is a good one. Copper, we have copper vessels. Gold, brass, silver, clay, wood. I said glass. Clay, wood.
Coconut bowl.
Yeah, anything that's earthen. Coconut bowls. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, the shell of an old coconut.
Yep. I got some out there. We cracked one open.
Oh, excellent. So you got that part down. Now, how do people cover it? Where should they store it? Is it better, or does it matter whether it's in the sun or not? How would you answer that?
Putting it in the sun solarizes it. I was actually going to ask you a question about that because it said that, like, put it out like during the high noon and whatnot. Can it get too much sun?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so, but you can like set it out in the sunlight, set it out in the moonlight.
Just remember where you put it.
Yeah. Covering it, you can keep it closed, but then like the ammonia scent doesn't dissipate as quickly. So putting like coffee filters or like the flour sack towels, I use those a lot. You know, putting that on the top with a rubber band, old t-shirts.
You can use sprouting bags that are made of hemp and flax.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
You can use cheesecloth. You can use a nylon stocking, which is only like 50 cents at most stores. You mentioned coffee filter.
Mhm.
Whether you want to secure it with a tight rubber band, a string, or whatever is optional. Or what I've been doing recently to avoid the rust, when you screw the lids on, it eats away at the metal inside the lid. So rust flakes and lands in people's water and they go, oh, I ruined it. Well, you didn't ruin it. You have to strain it out. So one thing you can do is take a lid that's oversized.
No, that works too.
You're not screwing it on. You're just basically covering it. So that's another option, an oversized lid.
Perfect.
And does it matter whether you put on a label and date it or not?
Well, I guess it depends if you're trying to evolve it for a certain period of time or not.
Yeah, I think that's all for our own peace of mind. So you can
Mhm.
look in your cabinet and go, I feel like I need something strong. I got a 3-month-old right in there. I need something that's a year old because I got to knock out this cold.
Yeah.
So dating it gives you a reference point.
Mm-hmm.
And if you recycle it rather quickly within a 3-month period, it's irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
You just kind of know what's what, and you reach in and go, I think I started this back in May. It's ready. All right, Coco drinking orange. The only reason you cover it is so that nothing lands in it, nothing flies in it, nothing gets in the water that you have to fish out or strain out. Right? It's not going to ever be contaminated even if you screw on a lid because it's sterilizing anything that could grow out of it. Some people said, well, they found sediment in it. Well, the sediment is part of the stem cells and the white blood cells and things that are in concentration. Somebody, I don't know who it was, they said they saw parasites in their urine.
Hmm.
Going, that's new for me. And if
It
they,
can
yeah,
grow scobies though, can it?
you know what?
Grow scobies? Like the
Oh,
kombucha?
like kombucha?
Yeah.
Well, things will be, you'll find substances in there. It could either be on the surface of the water or deep at the bottom of the container, but those are nutrients in concentration.
Hmm.
Any questions before we go into foot soaks?
Nope.
I love foot soaks. I have 3 generations of foot masters in my family lineage. Did I tell you that?
No.
The reason I've been a master foot massage therapist and reflexologist was the influence of my dad, who was a podiatrist, and grandfather was a shoemaker.
Oh, wow.
And so when I moved into teaching and preaching about urine therapy, it was natural to tell people about doing foot soaks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You have one of these?
Oh yeah, I got it filled up back there.
Okay. So how much orange should you put in your tub before you put your feet in it?
As much as you can.
Okay. Is there a minimum level would be optimum if you could pull it off?
I would say as long as the very bottom of your feet are covered, you can at least soak it up from the bottom.
Yes. And if you can get it up to the ankle, because you've got, like here, you've got uterus and sciatic nerve. On the inside, you've got ovaries on the outside, uterus and prostate on the inside. So if you can get the water up to the ankles, you're going to cover the reproductive organ areas.
Oh, okay.
And this is all based on reflexology.
One more thing I have to study.
Oh, well, I'd love to teach you that one. Does it matter whether you heat it or not? And what would be the advantage of heating up your orin before you put your feet in the tub?
So it's not cold.
Bingo.
Shock effect.
Yeah.
I prefer to heat everything in the sun, but I know that's not possible for everybody. So I would assume very slowly over a stove without actually boiling it is probably the best option, and to avoid microwaves whenever possible.
Yeah, thank you. You're definitely a nature child. So the other option is for people to use heated up city water.
Mhm.
And know that the water is going to be transformed by that city water. What little is in there to heat it up is not going to affect the sterility of the water.
That was one of the things I learned from watching your videos, is that it brings up the frequency of the water to the frequency of the orin when you mix it. Because I don't have it here yet, but when I was doing colonics on like a regular basis, I was like, oh, I'm using like the gross tap city water. And then I saw that and I was like, oh, well, I'm just gonna dump some pee in it right away.
Yeah. Well, when I'm taking baths and I've added the urine into the bath water, I don't smell chlorine because when it first comes out of the tap, out of the faucet, you can smell every place I've ever lived, whether it's in the U.S. continent or in Hawaii. I can smell chlorine and chemicals coming out of the water,
Mhm.
but not after you put your orin in the bathtub.
Perfect.
Don't smell it. So let me read a little bit about it. We're going to be taking a break in about 6 minutes here. Foot and hand soaks support the overall health of the body. They're great for any irritation, fungus, infections, of the feet, diseases, cuts, stings, bites, eczema, add the word scratches, or burns. If you had a second or third degree burn, this would be awesome for that. They nourish all body functions, including endocrine, digestion, absorption, nervous system, lymphatic glands, elimination, and also I would include the immune system, the lungs, and the skin. Get barefoot, wear loose-fitting pants. Now, here's a simple way to do this. You want to wear loose-fitting clothes. They can be shorts, yoga pants, pajama bottoms, swimsuit, or if you're somewhere where you can have the foot tub in the bathtub, you can be naked. And while your feet are soaking in the bathtub, you can massage the orin up the shins, the calves, the knees, the thighs, wherever you want to, while you're in the bathtub or in the backyard. And for the people who don't think about that, then they'll probably wear loose fitting pants or shorts. They can roll everything up to the thigh. Because while they're in there, I tend to massage the shin, the calf, and the knee as well as the feet.
Or a dress.
Or a dress. That works just as well. Thank you. So you want to stay there for 30 minutes, which is a good time to bring in some music, light a candle, burn some incense, watch a movie, read a book, cite some poetry, whatever you want. You're going to be in there for 30 minutes. Bring your guitar. Have a good time. What gives orin the magic is your love and your intention. By applying orin to the soles of the palms of the hands or the feet. By the way, when your feet are in there, sometimes what I'll do is I'll just bend over and I'll leave my hands in the tub with the feet. I know it's an awkward looking yoga posture, but you can you can do your hand soak at the same time you're doing a foot soak without having to have two containers for the hands. So that's
Actually, a lot of times, I have a makeshift desk here at the moment, but I'll soak my feet while I'm like working on stuff at my computer. So
Oh my
good way
goodness,
to start it.
you already got the makings of a great a teacher.
Thank you.
I can't wait to see your demo videos.
I'll
This
be
is how
coming.
the modern businesswoman conducts business when she's at home.
Yes, yes.
All right, remember to suggest the foot soak method to those that are hesitating their first sip or their first drink. It's a great lead in for newbies and for baby steps. Oh, I don't know if I'm ready to drink it. That's just way too much of a stretch. Well, would you soak your feet in it? And more people are willing to play with you on that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? Would you put a washcloth and would you dab it over your pain or your discomfort? Yes. Of course, they don't realize that if it touches your skin, you drank it.
Yep.
All right. While the feet are soaking in the golden plasma water, use the opportunity to rub or dab Orin on the calves. I mentioned this, the shins, the knees, as far up the legs as possible. The same protocol is used for hand soaks, except with a smaller size container. Have fun during foot or hand soaking time. This is excellent also for fungus, infections, arthritis, skin problems of the feet, dried feet, eczema, any kind of skin conditions or rashes, or any health conditions throughout the body.
Have you tried using it in like one of the ionic foot bath thingies, like where you put the little I forget what they're called.
It's a rod.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the reason I've used those in the past, I don't use them anymore, is I don't like the idea of putting my body, water, a conductor of electricity, and something plugged into the wall in the same place.
Yeah.
I'm calling me a little insecure, but I just don't like electricity that close to me.
Yeah. Understandable.
So we're going to take a little break.
Alrighty.
All right, this is a continuation of urine therapy training course number 29, class number 2. We're into the part called enemas, douches, and implants. Pretty self-explanatory. What kind of do you have, and what kind do you have of a enema bag, bucket, or container?
I have it's over there now. It's one of the plastic buckets. I think it's like 48 ounces total. And I've got like the 1,500 milliliter or whatever it is syringe thingy. Didn't like that one as much. I like the
Okay,
bucket, but
so
works.
the bucket works great, and it's got the hose with the clamp.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and have you created a system into the bathroom area where you have it all, it's hung up, you're on the floor on a rug, and you have the room set up so that you can get through it quicker?
Yep, yep. The nice thing is our bathroom is like the wall behind me. It's totally open. I don't hang it up. I just like put it on the little, I don't know,
And
whatever furniture stand that's back there. But yes, that works
okay, as
wonderfully.
long as it's elevated above your knees
Yep,
while you're on
yep,
your back. Yeah.
yep. And you lay on your left side, right, when you're doing it, because that's the one thing that I've heard. You lay on your left side when you're doing the enemas.
You try to do it without being too, pardon the pun, anal retentive about it. Because the left side's your sigmoid, right side's going to help affect the ascending colon to the liver.
Okay.
So any good nutritionist or naturopath or healthcare provider will be educated enough to remind their clients that when the first thing you do when you have a detox symptom and you're sick is to give yourself an enema or get a colonic. You know what that is, right?
Yes, my colonic board is currently on its way here.
Nice. So first thing you want to do is you want to get the flow going into the intestines.
Hmm.
Right? You do the best you can to clear the pathway in the large intestines so that what's ever still stored, compacted, or held in the small intestines can get through the rest of your large intestines and eliminate it.
Hmm.
You'll
And
notice
I have even tried with like deeper cleansing, doing like a colonic in the morning and doing like an enema then more in the evening. And I can definitely say that there was a lot of like plaque, like the mucoid plaque that came out during that time. And I was like, yeah, we need to keep doing that.
Yeah, and it's a great confirmation that that's not a myth.
Correct. It is not a myth.
Yeah, when I first saw that rubbery stuff coming out of me, I'm going, this is real. Yeah,
Hmm. Hmm.
it's not for, people who are in. Anyway, let's move on. So you can use fresh, you can use evolving, whichever you have. You can combine the two. You can add warmth to it if you want to, so you don't have initial shock.
Hmm.
And some people add other things in with the Orin. Some people use green coffee. Some people use lemon water.
Oh,
Some people put in zeolite and fulvic acid and different things that go after the chemicals and heavy metals. But the basis of it is the Orin. I did one once with all those things combined in there, including a source of magnesium, some zeolite, some fulvic acid, some shilajit. I mean, I decided just dose it up.
make a cocktail.
Make a cocktail, wake your butt up. So you want to do that. Now, traditionally, people will do an enema and a seasonal change when they do their cleansing.
Mhm.
Fall, spring, winter, summer. They do it every 3 months is when people do a regular pattern of doing intestinal cleansing, liver cleansing, parasite cleansing. If you can get into the cycles of the earth, the cycles of nature, just think what that could do for you. And there is a major vein that is in the rectal area. Do you know the name of it and where it goes?
Mm,
I love pop quizzes.
the only thing
Start.
that is the vagus nerve, but I don't think that's no.
It starts with the letter P. Portal vein,
Oh, okay.
and it goes directly to what organ?
Liver?
Liver. Bing, bing, bing. Yes, we have a winner.
Yay!
That takes you to the liver. So some people who are having liver cleanses, not just doing the lemon juice and the olive oil, and they're taking all the right nutrients, they're doing either implants or enemas to affect the liver from that side of the vein.
Okay. Now I have heard that I have not personally done one of the liver cleanses with the oil. That's still on my list of things to try. But I've heard that every time you do it, like your liver generally only operates at like 20%. And then every time like you do a cleanse, like it increases, like one of those kinds of cleanses, it increases like another 20%. So is that the same like if you're just strictly using Orin therapy and like doing the enemas with that, or if you're trying to like optimize the liver as quickly as possible to continue to do like the liver cleanses?
Yeah, definitely. These are complementary modalities. So to assist the Orin from working and going deeper in the system, I recommend you use several modalities, which I share with students. One cleans out the gallbladder, cleans out the liver, the gallstones, cleans out anything that was stored in the kidneys, the lungs, the intestines, the small intestines, the lymphatic system, respiratory, and so forth.
Mhm. All right.
So these are good to assist the body because it'll shortcut the time it normally takes to clean this out, and you'll get your health and your brain back sooner. So the difference now, douches, they make sense. You want to clean that area out, then you can use it in your douching. Now an implant, since we got a bunch of stuff to cover here. I won't go into great detail about everything here. You know what an implant is?
Yeah, kind of like an enema, only way less fluid.
Way less fluid.
Mhm.
2 ounces. All right. And you know where to get these? Do you have one?
I don't have one of those, but I've got like the syringe thingy, so kind of serves the same purpose.
Yep. If you ever wanted to find these, it's in the children's section of major grocery stores. For like $3, whatever it is. So you're going to put in the 2 ounces, and for most people, it doesn't get eliminated, it gets absorbed.
Mhm.
Some people might do an implant before bed. Go to bed. Some people might implant it during the day. There's no really one time is better than any other time. In Canada, they call it a basti. Some people call it an implant. Now, I first got into implants when I was doing wheatgrass juice.
Oh, okay.
And I was fanatical because I went from the American diet loaded with chemicals, loaded with all kinds of stuff. And so I had a mindset back in those days that more is better. And I didn't have anybody who could tell me otherwise. And I was doing 12 ounces of wheatgrass juice, which is over the top. So I went into intense cleansing and didn't know what was coming because there was really nobody to teach us. There was no mentors, there's no internet. And so you had to learn through doing.
Hmm.
So that's what we do for implants was wheatgrass juice, which I still recommend. It's very powerful. And by the way, wheatgrass juice doesn't bring up the consideration about gluten. People are always concerned, well, if it's wheat, there's gluten. Well, when it's juiced and when it's grown to just that, a 5 or 6 inch leaf, it hasn't been turned into a glutinous version of it.
Mm-hmm. We'll have to start growing some of that.
I recommend it. Now, here in Hawaii, the only place you can get it on this island is at this one health food store, but they don't sell it. I've been pushing them. They'll make it in a green drink, but they won't sell it individually. I'm going, you should be the only one on the island that sells wheatgrass juice shots. Come on, guys. So we'll see what happens. Any questions about implants, douches, or enemas?
No. I think definitely more women with like, because I know cervical cancer has been like a huge, huge thing. And I had a scare with that when I was a little bit younger. I definitely think that should be something that's a topic that's more discussed, among the female population and how that can be used. But
I agree.
I'll put that in my course.
Yeah. And you'll be one of the few who teaches it.
Yay.
That would be great. So when you put these inside, either in your backside or wherever you're putting it, vagina, wherever, see if you can hold it up to 20 minutes or longer. Now, people say, well, they've held it inside. When they did an enema, they were able to hold it for an hour or two. I'm going, when the pressure builds up, I don't think I'm going to get past 10 minutes. So you got to do what you can as long as it feels comfortable, and then you'll have to let it go. And it's not the length of time that we're aiming for. We're looking for more saturation and absorption into the mucosa and into the body from that part.
Yeah. And going back to colonics, so I've had people like ask me when I say, I do colonics, well, I was doing them on a daily basis, or like the doctor before I fired my doctor was like, oh, oh, I must have hit something. Make sure, because it's your gut health and all that kind of stuff. And when you're adding the orin to the colonics, like you're injecting more stem cells into that area and creating more probiotics, and you're creating a healthier environment rather than stripping it. So just a side note there.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing to remember so you can tell your students.
Mm-hmm.
You're actually assisting your body to do its job. And everything we're doing, we're assisting the body to do its job. What's fascinating is that when you're not eating, your body can do a better job.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's been programmed to think that eating is the solution to getting strength, health, vitality, and energy, when it's the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Eating is more like for pleasure and oral sex. However you want to think of it. All right, any questions before we go into ear rinses? Sweet. Okay. Rinsing the ears is either, you can either use the palm of your hand, a dropper from a dropper bottle, a bulb, a syringe, whatever you got, so that you can, while you're tipping your head to one side, you pour it into that one area. You can tug your earlobe to let it go down the tube even better. Hold it for as long as you can before you tip your head back and let it drain out. Some people actually will stick a cotton ball in there so it doesn't drain too easy
Mhm.
until you're ready to take the cotton ball out of the ear. So people are using this for all kinds of conditions, whether it's hearing, whether it's tinnitus, whether it's wax buildup, hearing conditions, ear infections, anything related to the ears.
I can say I wish I would have known more about this because like 3 of my kids had to have tubes in their ears. And I didn't know about this before then, so
Okay, well,
avoid the tubes, use the pee.
yeah, you know. Use oral ear rinses to treat, like I said, hearing, tinnitus, ear infections, wax buildup. An alternative method to eardrops is to place an orange-soaked cotton ball in the ear, keep it for an hour before you tip the head and let it drain. Some people use Q-tips, but you don't want to go too deep with the Q-tip, but you can at least get some of the essence of it inside the beginning of the tube.
Mhm.
Forget about rushing home. Now, whenever you get an emergency situation like a hornet or a wasp sting, a burn, a cut, you need to jump on it right away. So instead of trying to rush home or scramble to an emergency hospital or medical cabinet, grab your pee. Get used to your pee is your go-to.
Mhm.
So if there's a cut, a scratch, a bite, a burn, you name it, internal or internal, that's your go-to. You don't have to think twice anymore. You don't have to go through a list in your head. What essential oil is right for this? What am I? No, where's my pee? And it's great when you get to that point.
Yep.
That'll open up a lot more bandwidth in your brain.
Mhm. Mhm. Indeed.
So the eye rinse. Get an eye cup. You have one?
Yep, got 2 of them.
Okay. And you're working on goggles?
Yep. I probably should have just grabbed them today, but
And don't shoot on yourself. You didn't. You get them next time. So you simply fill up an eye cup. You're going to push it against the eye. Let's bring one out for demonstration purposes. Eye cup, they're usually glass. Sometimes there's hard plastic, and it has the stem at the base. This holds about a half or a third of an ounce. It's made for the auricular shape of the eye, as you can tell. So you just press this on the top bottom bone over your eye socket area until you form a nice suction. Keep your eyes open, blink as often as you can. Hold it for a while, 3, 5 seconds, 5 minutes, whatever you can, and then switch eyes. Then you switch to the other eye, leave it open, blink, blink, and do the same thing. Now, what do you think we're going to do with what's left over in the eye cup?
Save it, drink it, rub it on your face.
All the above. Dr. Rosalind Hansen, she suggests you just, the rest of it, just pour it over one of the eyes.
Works great for crow's feet.
It's great for crow's feet, yes. And by the way, this stuff that's under the eyes, mine's going away, but the stuff under the eyes, it's either a liver condition or it's indicative of parasites.
Oh, that explains a lot. Okay.
Yeah. So the eye rinse protocol supports, and let's read this. This is on page, the second page of the eye rinse section. The eye rinse protocol supports eye health, bringing relief to tired, burning, or painful eyes. Use Orin eye rinses to treat irritation, cataracts, poor vision, swimmer's eyes, floaters, which I added in the notes, floaters, sore or tired eyes, particularly if you spend a lot of time staring at a screen.
Mhm.
Not you, but I do. It helps to soothe tired eyes, sore eyes, eyes that have been over amped out from, the electronics and the radiation, whatever comes out of those devices. And to treat any eye problems, do the following. Here's the protocol. Drink fresh Orin into both nostrils from the time of wakening to bedtime. Oh, this is from Dr. Malhotra out there in India. The Orin shall be collected for external uses. Give yourself an Orin body massage from someone or from yourself in the next few days. It shall prevent and treat many other diseases, including COVID.
Mm.
And he's the first who brought that out publicly. And then not too long after is this gal named Gloria Charlene ends up being flown to a convention with Jonathan Otto. And she got up on stage and shared her testimonial how she healed herself from that. Wink, wink, wink. And after she did that, a whole new movement came around after she did that. And all these women and men were coming forward and sharing their testimonial how they recovered from that same thing.
I did see the video. I think it was you and her, and there was like two other women in Dr. Group. Yeah, I did watch that, and that was like, I think that was like one of the first things Sean watched about it too, and he was just like almost in tears because of like her testimonial and her story about everything, and I was like, that's amazing, amazing.
Yeah. And you'll hear more and more testimonials of both brave men and women who came back from the brink of death. Given up on their life. They gave up on the medical community. They didn't feel like there was any hope for them. And then this shows up in their life and they jumped in with everything and they're back. So be prepared. You're going to get people who are nervous, feeling scared and hopeless about getting their body back and their health back. And you have an answer. So it's great to be the person who can bring comfort to people.
That's what we're here for.
That's what we're here for. Orin fasting. Orin fasting. The rooster just announced it. So Orin fasting, like any fasting, it's a conscious vacation from food. And since most of the people on the planet are addicted to food or slaves to food, it's hard for a lot of people to fast just because for psychological reasons. But it's the most natural and ancient form of self-healing that's going around. And so I always urge people to just experiment with intermittent fasting before you do a full day. Until you can get up the courage to go for a full day, then you can experiment with how you feel and try another day or a third day.
Now, what would you say to people? Because there's a couple people that I know personally that already have extremely low body fat percentage and like very, very, very skinny. Yeah, and they're like, well, I can't fast because I already like I'll literally like waste away. So how would you handle that type of objection?
Real simple. The common denominator between underweight people and overweight people. You know what the common denominator is?
Probably psychological.
Well, I was going bodily and physiological. The common denominator is malabsorption.
I would say malnutrition. Well, I guess I kind of answered my own question because
You did.
when I had originally brought up about like fasting, like it was like water fasting or dry fasting, not like fasting on your Orin, because if you're doing that, then you're just reabsorbing the nutrients that you need. And I would assume somebody that is drastically overweight to begin with, that might even help them to gain some weight.
Well, when the body gets rebalanced, then someone who's underweight will start gaining weight and muscle.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm actually, my muscles are starting to tone up now.
Oh.
It helps that I have a swimming pool in my backyard called the ocean. And I take 3 to 5 mile hikes every day.
Beautiful.
So fasting is an accelerated version of self-healing. Your body doesn't have to use its resources and its energy to break down food, absorb food, eliminate food. So it can do a deeper cleaning, a deeper dive into the small intestines and all the elimination organs that normally would have to wait while your body's processing food.
Mhm.
The advanced fasting practice is to drink as much as you can throughout the day. That puts you on the edge of a dry fast. Avoid drinking orange or any fluids before bedtime, otherwise it might interrupt your sleep. What's a good practice is to stop 2 hours before bedtime, any kind of fluids, or even fruit, because sometimes fruit makes you got to go pee. You can also use orange while you're fasting for cosmetic purposes, which when we get to the skin section, you'll find out that that's what it's used for. Since you drink your pee and have read this far in the manual, you have earned a Piquant Flyer Award. Notice if you feel like your piquancy is at a higher vibration.
I highlighted that one when I was reading it yesterday and laughed.
Oh, how perfect. Wait. You got to get your hands on the Piscabulary of urinism. It was a
Well,
fun
I
book.
have a PO box now, so I just got to get stuff shipped here. So
You have a P.O. box. There. All right, so this whole section here is going to go into in depth. I'm not going to go through it in length here, but there's no limits what you can accomplish. Right? It's going to help your body. You're going to get all these stem cells. It's going to improve your intelligence, imagination, creativity, sense of humor, short-term memories, sharper thinking, critical, big picture thinking also is your benefit, and that returns to you. What I've noticed is that when you're not motivated, if you're a motivated person, which you seem to be, and your motivation isn't there, and your creativity is not flowing, and your sense of humor seems to be on hold, well, you got toxic overload or parasites that are competing with you. Otherwise, you would freely express it.
Mhm.
Or you can't get the energy and you're fatigued a lot. So that'll tell you it's time for house cleaning. Not that you have to pop a pill or take caffeine or do something to stimulate you, because you'll crash too soon.
Mhm.
That's only a temporary thing. I remember driving cross country, and every 2 hours I'd pull over and have to buy some coffee and donuts, and I didn't realize that was actually zapping me of energy.
Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
And 2 hours later, I'm at the side of the road taking a nap till I could find a coffee shop, and it's this endless cycle, and never got out of it until I walked away from it.
When it comes to house cleaning, there was a really good analogy I heard a while ago. So when like you have the floor in your house, when it's covered in a bunch of crap, the house being you, the floor being you, and you throw some more garbage in there, you don't really notice. But then when you clean the floor and you throw some garbage in there, you really notice. So that's just been an analogy that's like really when I try to talk to people about like detoxing and cleansing, like that's something that's kind of stood out to me that I think gives a good visual.
Good visual, and it's a good analogy. It reminds me of when you're you're cleaning. If you're into deep cleaning, really doing detail work in your house, you clean off the countertop, and the countertop is spotless. There's no food particles. There's no bugs. There's nothing on the countertop. And then your head turns to see the stove, and then you see the floor. Before you realize it, there's more deep cleaning to do.
Always. No, please go. Yeah, in a little bit.
Mommy will be yours in just a little bit. So it's a good idea to consciously clean out your body. Sooner the better. Those with post-traumatic stress disorders like PTSD, Alzheimer's, senility, ADHD, ADD, autism, spectral disorder, bipolar, report great results. This is credited sometimes to the presence of DHEA, melatonin, serotonin, dopamine, B vitamins, oxytocin, magnesium, and other important nutrients for the glands, the brain, and the nervous system. There is a connection between the gut and the brain. You might already know this stuff.
Is the second brain.
Second brain. So when people get their gut restored, their biome, their correct probiotics in there, their brain issues and mental disorder clears up. I've seen this happen with Alzheimer's people, but people with bipolar got off their bipolar medication because they cleaned up their gut. And so those kind of the toxins aren't being redelivered or reabsorbed, brought up into the bloodstream and then up to the brain. Of course, it also helps to do a chemical detox and get rid of heavy metals and forever chemicals and nanoparticles and things that are really stored deep inside the brain, inside the body. Fortunately, we have products that have come to market in the last 3 years that do that. Yay.
Yay.
How long should you do a fast?
That's intuitive.
It is
And
intuitive.
depending on your health goals.
Yeah. Should you necessarily follow the advice of a teacher or a health practitioner, or just trust your intuition?
Well, I think trusting your intuition and having, some guidance is always beneficial, for, 'cause I don't know, people always seem to like, how long is it going to take for this to happen? Well, it depends on you. That's like, when you look like making money online, well, how long is it going to take me to make? Well, that's entirely up to you. How much work you put into it, your mindset, and all these kind of things. So
Exactly. So it's a good idea to remind these people or to comfort their mind. Let them know any kind of fasting, any length of time is better than not doing it at all. So whether it's 1 day or longer, pat yourself on the back for pulling it off, for getting through it.
and even just starting with, intermittent fasting, and then prolonging the periods that you're intermittent fasting, and then moving into, longer ones.
So that's what this whole section is about. The power of fasting, how it can impact your body, your mind, your energy, your health. Every time I fast, I realize I didn't think about food all day. Particularly if you're doing an orange fast and you've got a lot of things to do during the day. Somewhere around sundown, I'm not hungry, and I never thought about what am I going to eat today.
Keeping
Man,
yourself occupied. Yeah.
boy, that it takes a lot of weight off you.
Yeah. Not
Emotions.
having to worry about meal planning. Oh my gosh.
You don't have to hunt down the food. You don't have to clean up afterwards.
Avoid going to the grocery store. Like, there's so many benefits.
I know, and that time is now yours.
Exactly.
So the end of that chapter, we look at scalp and hair massage. And it's really simple. Massage it into your scalp, massage it into your hair, rub it deep inside your brain, your cranium, and leave it there as long as you can. And if you're willing to just let it dry, any kind of smell will evaporate. And may notice that, well, so you don't have gray hair, but you may notice that your hair gets darker.
Oh, I do.
It's woven, it's in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I notice my hair gets darker. Right now, since I spend a lot of time out in the sun, I'm getting traces of red and light brown.
Oh.
And I never saw that in my life. I've seen red streaks of hair, and I thought it's because my wife was a redhead, but it didn't work that way. So massage it in your hair, massage it in your scalp whenever you're taking a shower or a bath, and just build it into your practice.
Mhm, mhm.
Plus, you got all those nutrients that helps your mind stay clear and sharp.
Indeed.
A simple shampoo recipe. There it is. Pee in a bottle, rub it in your hair, thrive. So if you're still buying shampoo and conditioner, are you?
No, I don't use shampoo and conditioner.
How about the family?
I'm weaning them off of it.
Okay. Oh, were they modernized kids? Were they raised in a modern city?
Yeah, yeah, very much so. Not like big city, but modern enough. This one the other day just asked me about buying face wash, and I was like, "Oh, what? How about some coconut oil?"
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to buy stuff for your bad breath. You don't have to gargle with garbage. And oh man, all this money that you're going to be saving on body care products and beauty care products, you can use for your family. Save all that money. And she wait 45 minutes?
Use the pee. It'll be luxurious.
You'll thank me.
Yeah, that's the 13-year-old. It'll take a little bit to.
Yeah,
We're working on
Yeah, time will come around. Okay, so the last of that section is food poisoning. So it's going to reset the bacteria. It's going to reset what's going on in your gut by drinking some when you're feeling like you were food poisoned, which is often bad bacteria that's in the food.
it.
If you go to did you ever eat at Chinese restaurants?
Long time ago. I avoid that at all possible costs now.
They used to deceive us by putting a notice on the front window along with those fake pictures of the food on the plate.
Mm.
They had a notice that said MSG not added to the meal. So one day I decided, and I like to question reality. I went and found the chef. I said, "Is it true that you don't add MSG to the food?" He said, "Yeah, that's true. It comes in the premix." So according to him, he wasn't lying.
Yeah, yeah.
According to me,
By
he was.
omission.
I wanted to challenge him more, but I dropped it. I'm going, okay, you lost a customer here. So the next page is was my nose drinking mentor and guru, Samuel G. Cohen. And he learned nose drinking through his teacher, whose picture is on the next page, Kelly Raw, who discovered it in England while he was in a men's bathroom, that if you drink it up your nose, you never know where discovery is going to happen. He figured out you can drink it up your nose and you can reach your third eye and decalcify the pineal gland.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So the whole idea is to rehydrate your brain, rehydrate the 5 sinus cavities that are located here, here, and here, and eliminate the excess mucus that's either in those cavities or dripping from your brain.
Mm-hmm.
When it crosses a blood-brain barrier, which is in here, then it goes up into the pineal gland, and you can start cleansing and purifying that area, which people are reporting that are drinking it up the nose, that they're saying their visionary abilities are improving.
Mm.
Their imagination, their creativity is improving. So I urge you, and anybody who's going to watch this video later, is to overcome your considerations of not using your nose as a form of application to the urine.
That was on my list to do with my 40-day fast, is to incorporate that as well.
So you can either use the palm of your hand and just snort.
Mm-hmm.
You can use a, let's get all these gadgets together. there's various things you could use, but the direct route is always the best. You can use a nebulizer, which will be the vapor version with this tiny particulates. Not liquid, but at least you get the idea. You can use a neti pot, but neti pots are ineffective because it drains from nose to nose. So you might, if you're lucky, get some of it up into your brain. Some people will use a pump spray bottle, which is effective, but not as effective. Some people will use the nasaline, which we sell at shivalifestyle.com. This holds 60 milliliters. And you simply pull out the plunger after you've filled up the syringe. So simple, so simple. Point it at a nostril, and when you're ready, let it rip. In about 3 seconds, you got a majority of it that's going to cross over and get up into here. The rest of it is going to go behind the throat. It's going to go behind the mouth because there's a passageway from behind the ears down to the throat. So you're still going to swallow it. You won't be down your mouth. You're going to swallow it from your throat. So it's a way to do that if you haven't learned how to drink it out of a cup. Have you ever drank it out of a cup in your nose? Have you seen anybody drink it out of a cup? Have you seen any YouTubes?
No, at that his site, it doesn't seem to be up either, the drinking through the nose. I was trying to look that up. It's like offline now.
Just because he decided to go publish a book on Amazon, so he's not doing that website anymore. So if you look up Samuel Cohen drinking through the nose, you'll find his book on Amazon.
Oh, really?
So let me see if I can demonstrate. I've only done this a few times in class. So if you want to do this and you're not in the bathroom, you may want to have something that's going to collect the drips. So there's 2 ways to do this. One is to bring it up to both nostrils at the same time and learn to coordinate the muscle up here with your stomach.
Okay.
You know when you clear your throat and you go, there's a muscle back here.
Oh, okay.
You can coordinate the liquids coming up your nose, which is going to act like a straw so that it can reach up into the sinuses, into the brain. You should try it, Rooster. So there's 2 versions. One is just to start drinking up your nose. And the other version, which Samuel taught a couple of years ago, is to hold some in your mouth first. So it forces it up the nose and it won't go into your mouth. So there's 2 ways.
Oh.
Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, their drips happen. When you first start doing this, know that you might gag a little bit because you're not accustomed to using your nose. Oh, I dripped. I won't waste it. So that's kind of what that looks like. You get an idea? You get the idea?
Yep. And there's other ways you can do it too. Like if you're, because it said in the book, like you kneel down and then like put your head. So essentially your head is upside down and there's like a clear path directly from your nostrils up. Well, I mean, flip it over. So, and then the other one was like if you're laying back and have your head back and then you just tilt your head to the different sides to do it that way.
Yeah, and it sounds like you've got a great approach to it and you're likely to make up your own version of it. Next time you're doing your yoga stretches and you happen to have your feet above your head in the back, you go, good time to snort urine.
I actually have like a yoga handstand stool. When I was like testing out the positions last night, I was like, oh wait, I could use the yoga stool.
Yeah, and your shoulders are sitting on it while your feet are up in the air.
Yep.
Perfect. Perfect. All right, so any questions about nose drinking.
Mm-mm. No, I'm very interested in the whole like decalcifying the pineal gland and the potential abilities that come along with that.
The idea to access and activate full use of your brain and your consciousness is
Mhm,
something very few people have experienced.
mhm.
And unless they've done cleaning like this, years and years of meditation, spiritual practices, few people have accessed these areas that the masters are accessing. Why
Well,
not
good
you?
thing we're immortal and we got all the time to figure it out.
We do. Yeah, get this part down. This will help your immortality journey. So this writing is, so when you get a chance to read this, Samuel was influenced not only by Kelly Raw, he was influenced by this female guru, and he learned this form of a meditation and yoga and tantra and all these practices, mantras, from his teacher. And so when he teaches urine therapy and nose drinking, he brings these other components into the conversation.
Mhm.
So he's well disciplined. He's been seen sometimes out in public dances and outdoor celebrations and gatherings, drinking out of his nose. And he took it to an extent I haven't even played with yet. I have drank coconut water up the nose.
Oh,
I mean, these guys drink carrot juice up the nose. They drink wine up the nose.
oh wow, yeah, I'm
I'm going, okay, that's, fine. So whatever you can imagine, you want to get straight direct route up to the brain. That's why they do that.
Mhm, mhm.
So if you get a chance, read his writing. Let me read a little bit of it right here. According to Samuel, it's impossible to get a cold when you constantly drink orange through the nose. You can feel under the weather, but one drink up the nose and clouds disappear. I take a cup with me everywhere. If I have to go to the bathroom, I take it with me, close the door, collect my water, and drink through my nose. You feel like Superman. You're going to go into a phone booth and do something nobody knows, and it's a secret. I feel that way when I'm out in the public and I'm using the bathroom. I feel that way on an airplane. Nobody knows you're not just peeing. You're doing other stuff in there. And you
Yeah.
walk in and your energy's improved.
Add that to my list.
Nasal wash works well with the use of a neti pot to flush nasal sinuses or nasal cavities. The intestines in the body contain a secondary set of sinus portals, and they are in charge of keeping the brain clean. Sinus problems, headaches, congestion are easily remedied with orin nasal flushes and navel soaks. I highly recommend, Keegan, that you keep any kind of container in all kinds of places, in your car, in the glove box, in the saddle on your horse, in your backpack, in your hip pack, wherever you go, so that if you're going about your day and you can't seem to get your brain on track and it keeps getting slowed down and sluggish, take a couple of snorts in your head and watch how fast your brain comes back.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And
I actually
sometimes,
did that earlier. I was like just irritated by things. I was like, I'm gonna go snort some pee.
yeah, I'll be right back. Yeah, so build that into your go-to, build that into, this is your first aid. I mean, in the next paradigm, people would keep several of these wherever they go, and they don't have to look in a medicine cabinet or dial 911.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yes, Dr. Group even used it to heal his broken foot without medical intervention. I mean, he is a doctor, so I guess it's kind of medical intervention.
Well, he's a naturopath, but yeah,
Yes.
he's not a doctor. And it was my housemate who saved himself thousands of dollars in a trip to Mexico by rubbing it on his knees.
Oh.
His knees were hurt because he was a master gardener and he was on his knees day in and day out working the garden.
Mhm.
Well, his nays started to give out and blow out. Him and his wife were talking about getting stem cells injections of Mexico. And I reminded him, you're already drinking urine. Why not just rub some on your knees? 4
Oh.
days later, pain was gone. So log that where you need to log that away so you'll remember. This should be your go-to. All right. Any questions so far?
Mm-mm. I was looking up at yoga meditation last night too.
Ah, which one? His?
No, the Shahaja, I'm probably saying that wrong.
Yeah.
Sahaja
Yep.
yoga meditation.
Let me
Yeah,
look
they have
up.
a ton of videos. Holy man. There was
Oh,
like
yeah.
70 some on there and they were all almost like 2 hours long. I was like, oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Be prepared to camp out in front of your screen for a while. Now, these guys in India, they've been doing this for thousands of years. So when you ever get a chance to go to India, and I've not had that opportunity yet, they're constantly feeding the fire, talking to Shiva, burning off their karma, going down to the Ganges River and bathing in this piss-filled water, in their chanting. I mean, they're constantly giving everything they got to the divine all day. And even when they're working the temple and they're fixing things up and they're doing their dharma and their karma yoga, they're doing it with mindfulness. So it's no longer work. When I do foot massage and reflexology, it's play. It's a joy for me. I know what to do, and people drop into a deep relaxation, and before they realize it, their suffering's over. They wake up and they go, I'm back. I feel so much better. Well, you unloaded.
I definitely think that's a shift to the new paradigm is like play instead of work and jobs. I've had that conversation with a friend of mine.
Yeah. Ultimately,
Yeah.
your work is your highest form of pleasure. And the universe rewards you either economically, financially, or all kinds of ways because of the pleasure you arrive from it.
Absolutely.
You know, you're putting value on your time and your energy and who you are. And the universe says, well, here, do more of that. You seem to love it.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you want to have your perfect career, think of 10 or 20 things that you love to do, and then pull one off the list and see how you can turn that into an income source.
Already in the process.
Process. Okay. When you get that retreat center up and running, let me know.
Will do.
Same here. I'm planning and getting this thing running as soon as possible so we can have people from all over the place come here and retreat.
Yes. I'd love to have further discussion on that.
We will. I did get your email, by the way.
Perfect.
Great tips. All right. So on chapter number 10, section 10 and chapter 7 is about the nebulizer, the pet respirator, the humidifier, the mister. And why I put them all in the same category is they all are leading toward the same place, which is to clean out the air around your head and around your rooms. Of course, I started off, you can see the picture of that nebulizer, whatever that is. That was a diffuser. And I started my interest in diffusing with essential oils. Right? So you put in your essential oils and it puts it up in the air and you can smell lavender and patchouli or whatever it is you're burning. So I started experimenting with Orin. And I found that works just as well. And if you have one of these devices that it changes colors every few seconds, you know, it's kind of neat when it turns it glows gold. And so I just kept upgrading. Then I found a respirator at a garage sale. I used that. It was kind of like, what do you call those things? A hookah?
Oh, okay.
A hookah pipe where it had, you know, and then it had a tube and you would suck it in.
Yeah.
All right, so they had respirators, so I tried it for that, and I just kept upgrading until my son turns me on to the nebulizer. And when I got to this point, it was like, it's simple, no electricity, it's
Mhm.
portable, and it makes it really small particles, so you can either bring it up your nose, you can rub it, you can take it in the mouth, you can exfoliate your skin, you can feather it over your eyelids. So this is a real practical device to have.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that's what this chapter is all about, is ways to introduce it into the air so that you clean out contaminants that are airborne in your room, in the bathroom, in the house. If you got a small little room like a bathroom, you can leave that nebulizer on all night and you can feel like you've just oxygenated and cleaned out the air in that room.
Mhm. And I would assume that would be wonderful for people who have like seasonal allergies.
Until
As
they, you have anybody in your life that have that?
my husband has asthma, but he is weaning himself off of things, so he's been doing a great job with that. Seasonal allergies, not really, no.
Is he getting off of mucus foods, mucus forming foods?
I'm working on it.
Okay. Just a reminder, the metaphysical connection between allergies and asthma is getting things off your chest,
Mm, hmm.
speaking your truth, and be able to say things without feeling like someone's going to shut you down or tell you you can't talk about it.
Okay.
Right. So the best way to clear that is to tell the truth as fast as it comes up for you.
Mhm.
Something you said, I felt like this, and this is how I interpret it. It probably isn't true, but this is how I feel about it. And I had to get it off my chest, and I feel so much better. Thank you for listening to me.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, Sean, that's for you, brother. Say what you feel and know that you are not going to be disapproved of, and it's safe for you to do that. And
Oh, that
people,
just goes into a whole lot of childhood trauma stuff there, doesn't that?
yeah, well, that's where it came from.
Yeah.
And any abuse that we had, you felt intimidated and you shrink and you weren't able to be as powerful as you can be.
Hmm.
So another thing you can use is the dropper bottle. Keep a closed dark amber or cobalt blue colored glass dropper bottle filled containing orin in your purse or backpack. Gargle, swallow it anytime you need to increase your energy. This can be a lifesaver. Plus, use orin for emergency situations in case you have cuts, scratches, stings, rashes, bites, sunburn, etc. Like I might have mentioned in the first class, it's nice to have it wherever you go, because should you be in a situation where somebody else has got a scratch, a bite, a sting, a bug bite, or whatever it is, and they're open to letting you rub some on their scratch and bite or whatever, that could be a lifesaver.
Hmm. Hmm.
But you got to ask them first. I made that mistake once and I'll never do it again. I won't go into it until we turn off the recording because this is going public. Any questions so far? We got about 20 minutes.
No.
This is a chapter which needs to be addressed because people tend to avoid the idea of doing injections. And it too can be a lifesaver in life-threatening situations. If someone goes into an anaphylactic shock, or they have an asthmatic attack from a wasp sting, or their equilibrium is off, or they pass out, or any number of things. They could have a heart attack, shock. This goes in the bloodstream immediately when you inject it. If I haven't already, remind me and I'll hook you up with Chitta's Telegram group. He's been documenting. I had recommended he did that. He was doing orin injections for himself. I said, the whole world needs to know this kind of information. There's nobody teaching it. So he has a Telegram group called urine therapy injections. And if you can't find it, remind me, I'll send you the link. And so he's been documenting it, where he puts it into his butt muscle, into the thigh, even with pictures for people who aren't sure where to do, what size needle, how much to pour in, what his results have been. There are good days, bad days, whatever else he went through, he journaled it, and he's got a Telegram group about it.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah. So this is the reason people do that. And some people, they do oral injections just because they're just not feeling as best as they could. Not that they're really sick, but they want to know what feeling better feels like. So if you ever feel comfortable with poking yourself and giving yourself, urine injections, do it. If not, don't do it. One thing you might try, and I've yet to find, I have to look a little closer on this island. There are nurses who have got out of the practice of nursing that give injections of B vitamins, vitamin C, glutathione, things like that. And some of them do this in private and they're available. So if you don't want to poke yourself, you can hire someone and they know where to poke. It was Dr. Group who actually, instead of putting it into the butt muscle, he injected into his arm just to see if it mattered, see if it was worse, better, or anything. He said it worked just fine.
So like when you're like with injections, those are like much smaller amounts as opposed to like what you were saying with the B vitamins and stuff. Those are like bags of vitamins of like hundred or thousands of cc's, right? That would be too much, maybe? No? Yes? I don't know.
Well, and there's really no too much, but usually that's those businesses that are called an IV bar.
Yeah, yep, that's what I'm thinking of.
Right. They have, it looks like an enema bag bladder.
Yep.
With the cord, and it's in your arm with the gauze. Yeah. That's the slow drip method, but it's a lot less is going inside your body. So that's up to you. I think if you have
An interesting experiment, I think.
yeah, it would. And I'm one who tests reality, and I went into an IV bar in Boulder, Colorado. I said, you know what? Urine therapy has gained in popularity and use from people, and there's nobody, you could actually be the first to do urine therapy injections in your IV bar. And what does he say to me?
Get out.
Liability issue.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's
Right?
why,
And how do you get medical approval on that?
well, if you're set up as a private membership association or you know, outside of that, that's a whole nother discussion. Yeah, no, there's ways around that.
Yeah, there's always ways, but these people have to stretch their mind to take that
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
It's recommended that clients do not use oral therapy when using any type of drugs, medication, heavy smoking, tobacco, or cannabis, drinking alcohol or coffee. Like I already mentioned before, you can space out the use of the orin around that so you can still take that if you have to. These patients have included those diagnosed with cancer. So these are some of the patients from that clinic in Mexico. Dr. William Hitt. I've not determined, I've not done any, I haven't found if he's still around, still alive, or there's still a clinic who does this in Mexico. One of my students who's an upcoming really good urine therapy teacher, she's in Australia. She's considering going to India to find a urine therapy clinic. And they're there, but you have to figure out who do you ask and how do you find them? Because they don't have websites.
Yeah, I'm sure there's probably a reason for that.
Yeah, no doubt. So some of these have been diagnosed that got benefits, had cancer, asthma, heart conditions, patients with severe alcoholism, drug, smoking addiction, pornography addiction, sexual addiction. All that stuff has been helped with injections. Drinking Orin allows for slower application and absorption, which can decrease any possible detox symptoms. Injections deliver an abrupt, forced introduction of nutritional substances into the body without allowing for the body's gradual adjustment to the substance. There really isn't any need for this sudden forcing of Orin into the body unless there is an emergency, life-threatening situation that arises. This is why people don't make it a part of their natural practice to do injections.
Mhm.
But is very, very quick and is very life-saving. So it's good to know that, just to put into your toolkit in case it ever arises. Now I can imagine this, Keegan. What are the odds that you're going to be somewhere when somebody goes into one of these, health conditions, and you just happen to have a container with pee, and you just happen to have a syringe? I mean, you almost got to keep that in
I'll
your
have to gather my supplies.
yeah, put that in the toolkit. So this is George Johnson. Well, we'll end with George Johnson, and then we can turn off the recording and you can ask whatever you want. George Johnson gave me the idea about goggles. And he discovered that if you fill them up and put them against your eyes, you can do both eyes at once. And it actually is very effective. You just got to get the suction on right. So it holds the water in place. And then you just hold it over your eyes for as long as you can, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes before you take the goggles off.
While you're doing your foot soak.
While you're doing a foot soak, while you're massaging somebody, if you can actually see them through the water. Where are you? Where are you? So that's George Johnson. And I love the guy because he's the guy who was pushing the word Shivambu all over the place. He had tie-dye shirts that said Shivambu. He got a personalized license plate that said Shivambu. He wrote Shivambu, long live Shivambu, at the entrance to Yellowstone National Park.
Well,
And he was like a very strong advocate for urine therapy before it became really internet popular. So if you happen to be in Montana, that's where he lives. He's an amazing guy. He's actually, unfortunately, he lost 2 legs because of gangrene, and he didn't get the urine therapy application deeper into his practice, or he could have saved his legs. But they built him a prosthesis so he can actually walk assisted with poles.
wow,
He's a trooper. He's still out there.
that's awesome. Well, I hope to meet him someday.
Yeah, it could happen. So on our next class, it's going to be Friday the 23rd. Between now and the 30th, let's see, when do we end? On the 6th,
Number 6.
September 6th. So we're going to do protocols, general treatment suggestions, career, and the future, and laughing. So between now and the 6th of September, if you would be so nice as to send me how you want your name printed on your certificate of completion.
Oh, perfect.
Because when you get that, you'll want to print it and frame it and put it hanging up in your office with your other diplomas.
I actually left all my other diplomas in the States.
Yeah, well, you won't need them where you live.
Yeah, they'll get here at some point.
They will. They will. So on the next class, we're going to go into tongue cleaning, belly button soak, which I introduced to the world. They hadn't really thought about that. Evolutionary or evolving Orin, why it's not a good idea to boil your Orin. What are those things floating in the jar or in bathing, skin conditions, compresses? Oh, boy, that's a lot. Deodorants. Why keep it by your bedside? And that will end the chapter with the protocols. Between now and then, anything that comes up for you, if you will write it down and bring that to class. If anybody in your circle, in your life has a question that you couldn't answer, bring it to class. We still have 3 more classes left, so if anybody wants to be a drop-in student, they're welcome to join in. They'll get caught up. Now, I do have upcoming classes scheduled, just so whoever hears this will be able to know that. We've got classes scheduled Tuesdays and Thursdays in September, and then all the Fridays in October ending up into November. So anybody can catch upcoming classes in case they miss. The last one's going to end up November 19th.
Perfect.
I'm still open to teaching beginners classes to newbies and to beginners. And I'm still offering consultations to anybody.
I will send them your way.
Thank you. And at some point, I'll send them your way.
Perfect.
And you'll go, okay, I signed up for this. I'm going to do this now.
Absolutely.
I think you're going to love it as much as I do because you get to watch people transform.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They get their health and their brain back. They're a whole new person.
Beautiful.
So off with the recording.